So here's my little small introduction to crazy legs. So we're not going to learn it all today because it is a bit of a move that takes time to build up to, I believe. And it requires a lot of muscle that we may not be used to using. So I'm going to teach you how I conquered or started getting into this move. So to start off, I'll demonstrate what it looks like just so we can have a refresher. So basically crazy legs, my toe stops, looks like this. I can't do it very well right now with my toe stops in, but basically it is like a weight transfer. I think it's basically a weight transfer between the balls of your feet, and which is what gives part of the cool effect, or what makes it look so crazy. But because essentially you can do the same move not on the balls of your feet, and that's where we're gonna get started today. So today we're gonna get used to pivoting on the balls of our feet like this. We can start out in ballet, first position, I believe this is called. And right now, all I'm doing is, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna apply pressure to the balls of our feet and slowly lift ourselves up for little periods of time. This can be scary, and you don't have to take your toe stops yet for any of this. So like, if you're still not feeling 100% comfortable to do that yet, no worries. What helps me get onto the balls of my feet easier is, as I'm about to elevate myself, I breathe in. And then when I breathe out, I bring myself back down. And when I breathe in, I think or imagine the air is lifting me up with it. As I inhale, bring it back down. Just remember, we want to keep our nice soft knees so we don't hurt anything. Keep our nice shock absorptions. And if you don't feel comfortable quite yet doing it on your own, no worries at all. Feel free to grab a chair or a buddy and hold on while you do that. Another thing is, while I breathe in, I notice I'm also contracting my abdomen, trying to get my core as nice and tight to stay as stable as possible. Suck that stomach in, tuck it in. It's nice to keep it nice and tight as you're coming back down too, just to keep everything as stable as possible. And next thing I wanted to recap that I taught on Thursday is, once we're feeling comfortable with those movements, just getting up and down on the balls of our feet, the next thing I'd like us to try is get back into that first position, or the one way I heard it called is called pizza feet, and I really like that. So get back into our pizza feet, and from here we're gonna practice flaring our ankles out by pivoting on the balls of our feet. So, like lift in, or I'm breathing in so I can get on, and then as I breathe out, I flare my ankles to the sides. So I breathe in, I'm gonna flare them back to the inside. And while I'm doing all this, I'm keeping my core nice and tight. from behind to see if that helps a little bit. So. And please feel free to use a chair if you need to help to balance at first, or a buddy, because this is some hard stuff to jump into if you're not used to being on the balls of your feet very often. I think if you do roller derby, if you are a jammer, it may feel a tiny bit easier if you're a jammer that uses your toe stops a lot, since you're a little familiar or might have a little muscle memory. But chair, like, I will admit, if you're using a chair though, remember though that you don't want to don't be relying or putting so pressure on the chair a ton. Like, you still, essentially you want to be able to go handsless at some point. So just like there is like is an aid, but like remember, if you're keeping your core tight, that should help you stay stable enough to be able to pivot yourself. And if the flaring in and out feels weird, something we can do is, well, let's see. Do some bubbles. Do some of these double C cuts to get our ankles and our legs, our feet used to going in these different angles that we're not used to putting them in, better yet said. Doing one leg at a time. Doing these little C cuts, I think, are very helpful for being able to practice if you're trying to do plow stops. I think these are a great way to get your body and muscles built up and the muscle memory, because essentially a plow stop from here is just flare out your ankle once you get to the front. If you don't just let your momentum split. Yep. Split. Stop. Ooh. But the whole reason we're doing this guy is because the next step, I think, to progressing is doing the crazy legs on our flat feet, which actually involves using your heels at this point to be able to achieve that like S-looking curve figure. Whew. And what I mean by like crazy legs on flat feet is basically we're sort of in that first position, but maybe a little bit more spread out. And, or at least for me, I can't speak for everyone, but I notice my feet aren't all together, just a little spread out, so I can have the ability to stagger my feet, because essentially so you can get the figure, you're going to need to stagger your feet and have one in front of the other. Essentially your outer leg should be the one that's leading, depending on which side you're going to. So if I'm going to the right, or if I'm going to the left, I'm going to start with my outer leg. Hold on. Yeah, okay, there we go. Sorry. Well, essentially this is what it looks like when I mean, and I'll break it down in a moment, but essentially we're opening and closing doors. Opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing. With staggered feet from a spread eagle stance. And spread eagle. Now I close my feet. Now spread eagle. Close my feet. Spread eagle. Close my feet. But the more you're able to let one of your feet go for stagger in front of the other, the more dramatic the effect, I believe. I forgot how I was doing it. And to get to this, I'm pivoting on my right toe, on my right ball of foot, so I can bring my right heel over. I'm using the heel, and as I move, my left foot is slowly sort of moving forward at an angle, and my heel is letting my foot roll forward so that can happen. So, backwards, I'm letting when I'm trying to go to the back to the right, my right, your left, I'm letting the heel of the direction I want to go take me, and I'm letting the direction I want to go, let's say to the right, my right, your left, I'm letting that foot take control, and the back foot is the one that's going to have to like pivot back. Because I'm leading, closing that door, 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 leading, closing that door. And as you get more comfortable, you'll be able to speed it up. I'm not the best at doing it like that, but this is the first 2 or 3 things I would start us off with to get us into crazy legs. But stay tuned as I bring up some more stuff to help us conquer this move. Hope this was a good start, and please leave me any feedback or comments or anything you think might be useful for me to add in the next one. See y'all around. Bye.